What's going on, YouTube?
It is so nice to see y'all. We came in because we need to talk about this. So this is going to be a quick video, but we just had to talk about it.
We can't let this one slide. Everybody talking about it, right?
I know. I feel like we're the last ones to party.
Yeah, so let's just dive right into what's going on right now with this time thing.
That part.
Let's go.
So basically, this year's annual meeting, like, I'm just going to be real with you guys. We don't keep that up to date on what's going on in the witness world, okay?
We just started with this YouTube stuff.
Yes, we end up hearing things kind of by hearsay, and then we look into it. So this year's annual meeting, they had an announcement.
A big one?
A huge one.
Yeah, life-changing.
Yes, no longer having to count your service hours. This is our reaction right here, okay?
Are you kidding me?
Literally, because the whole time while we were Jehovah's Witnesses, our service hours were such a huge thing, and anybody who was in it, they know it was a huge thing. So what is it that you think made them change things up?
Well, as you've seen from one of our previous videos, the numbers are dropping.
That part.
The statistics may say otherwise, in they brochures and their yearbooks, but when you look around at the Kingdom Hall, especially when we were still going around, the seats went from being full, could barely find parking if you got there late. Your assemblies and conventions was jam-packed, and over time it got empty.
Yes.
And how coincidentally, now it's like they changing all these rules just to try to keep. Hey, it's like you dropping stuff out your hand to try to catch what's left.
And I think that things changed so much during COVID. Like, people finally had time to themselves. I'm telling you, there was like this grand awakening that happened during COVID.
Definitely.
And ever since then, there's been these very large changes happening within the organization.
Right.
Why? Because people didn't go back. They went online and then they were like, deuces.
Like, I'm out. A lot of people, including us, left during COVID.
Yes.
Yep.
I believe a huge part of it is them trying to retain their members.
Exactly.
So they are literally focusing on retention right now and keeping everybody that they can. Because if you think about it, I remember them saying that they had lowered the pioneer hours at first, and now all of a sudden you just have to check a box to say that you went out in service.
That's it.
That is insane, especially because there was just so much emphasis that was put on to your hours.
Right.
Like, people would even get turned away from their Bethel applications if you were not putting in enough hours. That was literally a box to check off. Yes.
That if you wanted to get, I was gonna say promotion. Basically a promotion within the organization. If you wanted to become a ministerial servant or a pioneer or things like that in the congregation, they would look at your hours. Even when it came to dating and stuff. Hey, I don't know, brother so-and-so, he
doesn't go out in service very much.
He don't get that many hours. Sister so-and-so, she don't really get that many hours.
Yeah.
You ever notice they only go out on Saturdays?
And that wasn't even enough.
Yep.
But, I think for our Kingdom Hall, it was like 10 hours that you had to make every single month in order to be considered an active Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
Or else you were considered like a non-active publisher.
Yeah, you were inactive at that point. I remember this talk a brother gave. This was one of those overly zealous brothers that was real stern, real serious like this. Yeah. But he gave this talk. He was. If anybody from my former congregation know who I'm talking about, very stern brother like this. Yes, very narrow. But he gave this talk saying, it's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and it's this many hours per week, and it's this many weeks in a month. If you they let it simmer and then they get real serious. Friends, if you cannot dedicate one hour to Jehovah, what does that say about your spirituality?
Yeah.
Now look at it.
And it's wild because they literally would make you feel so guilty about not going out in service. As if, you were literally blood guilty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you weren't out there warning everybody about the end coming and giving them this promise of new life. So they made it like your personal responsibility for these people possibly dying.
Right.
And now for it to just be gone just like that.
What's the mean? Oh, I would see, and me and my uncle, when he found out that I didn't want to be a witness no more, we had this conversation how things are not scriptural. And I'm like, all right,
Exhibit A.
It says in the congregation, it's this rule that you have to be the spiritual person. I use the example of two people dating. You meet this brother and find out he's a servant.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Well, great job. Mm-hmm. If you find out, my daughter's seeing this brother, he's not a ministerial servant. How do you look at him? Not the same. No. Now point out the scripture where that's necessary. And I say, yet, how about on the other hand, this is the sister I'm dating. Oh, is she a pioneer? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you feel? Versus rewind it.
Yeah.
Is she a pioneer? Well, no. How do you feel? She's viewed differently. Absolutely. Now point to the scripture that says you need this many hours out in field service. He was like, well, I mean, there's not one, but that still didn't wake him up. But it's exactly.
And as a matter of fact, that's unscriptural. Like, it's not scriptural to pass judgment on people dependent on that. It's the same thing with the scripture of talking about the woman who gives like
the widow.
Who gives like small coins. It's the same thing. You give what you can. And so many people are over leveraged in their life, especially in this economy, like having to work multiple jobs. And then on top of it, their 10 hours of service isn't enough, or them going out 2 times is not enough. You have single mom, like there's so many single mom witnesses.
Yeah, you know what I mean? A whole lot.
Yeah, like I feel like more than usual.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've seen a lot of like single parent households.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you give what you can. So it's literally going against the Bible to judge people based off of these titles and based off of how much service that you give.
Based off their situation.
It's just, I don't know how you felt whenever you heard that, but whenever I heard it, I was like, aha, like, are you guys not seeing this yet? Like, do you guys not see what's going on?
It's new light.
We were saying this how many years ago? People have been saying this for decades. Yeah. Like that, service is not something that, counting your hours and things are not something that's necessary to prove your dedication to God.
Right.
People have been saying that for years.
And what's crazy is everybody in the organization is so blinded, they don't realize, like, this whole new light thing. Anybody else will backtrack and say, well, wait a minute. So all these years of me slaving and giving all these hours is worth nothing? Like, the witness mind doesn't backtrack to that. The witness mind only goes from here forward, like, okay, new light.
Literally, they were clapping about this like new service announcement and stuff. And I know why they were clapping, because they're like, oh, thank goodness, like, we don't have to worry about that anymore. But if I were in the seats, like, listening to it, all I would be thinking is, well, how about everything that happened in the past? Like, how about all these opportunities that I missed because my service was not up to par?
It makes zero sense. And I know the people clapping the hardest in there was the PMOs. That was the extra bass claps. You were like, yes, I don't even want to be here in the first place. Let's be honest. People pretend to like a lot more things in the organization that they actually really, really like. It's all a facade. It's all for show.
Yeah, it is. So many people are like, even especially whenever you gain some titles, they come down on you even harder. So they want you to get rid of hobbies that you like. They want you to do even more in the congregation. Like, it's just, we've said it multiple times, but it's never enough. No. Like, even the hobbies that you like outside of the congregation, all of a sudden you're not allowed to do those things anymore. Right. Like, if you're somebody who likes to go to concerts, now you're a ministerial servant, so you really shouldn't be spending time out there in concerts. Don't you know, me and my sister got in trouble one time, like literally got spoken to. We had a shepherding call with like me, my sister, and my mom. Mm-hmm. And then this younger, new ministerial servant came, and then our older elder that was like close to our family, like really close.
Right.
So we had posted pictures like a couple days before it was me and my sister and 2 other witnesses. Yeah, 2 other witnesses, and they were both girls. Mm-hmm. And we were out at the Cheesecake Factory, and it was probably a little late. It was like after midnight that we were there, and we had seen some other witnesses. Apparently, somebody went back and told like the elder about it, and then they brought it up in our shepherding call that we should not be outside that late at night. And like the elder was trying to get the newly appointed ministerial servant to agree, and he was just kind of looking like, I really don't see a problem with it.
And that's the one that servant is no longer a witness now, right?
No, I don't know if he's a witness or not, but I know he stopped serving as a ministerial servant there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, I don't know if he's a witness or not.
Yeah,
that's like
crazy.
Questionable. I've been wondering.
Yo, I think they bounced.
I think they did too, or like did semi.
Yeah, but the whole shepherding calls are setups anyway. It's a way I got tricked into a shepherding call. We'll get back on track, but I think I talked about before when I was first inactive. And the brother I was studying with, this is after I was reinstated, is like, hey, you mind if, I stop by on Saturday? I'm like, yeah. So the meeting comes up Thursday before Saturday, and that's when he's like, you mind if I bring the brother that gave the talk about the time, him, the stern one. You mind if he come with me? At that point, I'm like, I know what they trying to do. They trying to see what's up with me because I've been inactive. And of course, I had just been disfellowshipped and just got back. I ain't got nothing to talk about. They try to, it start off real, hey, yeah, we just, we love you, want to make sure everything is okay. By the way, when people are usually inactive, they get into other things. I've been chilling, just working.
Yeah, they try to set you up.
Anything else? No. Well, you can talk to us. Yeah, I understand. Just tired, exhausted.
Because then if you do tell them anything, it's like now they label you as spiritually sick. Even whenever you're an inactive publisher, they label you like, oh, that person is spiritually sick. But then, don't label me spiritually sick. You have no idea what I do on my personal time.
But this is the thing with the shepherding calls, and they try to wing, when you are inactive, they try to wing and see what's going on, and then that turns into a judicial committee.
Meeting, yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it. But yeah, back
to the service thing.
Back to the whole thing. The service thing, man, it's so, what can you say? We know what's going on, but the people inside, they just look at it as everything is going to be new light. They can make all type of changes. They can do, same-sex marriages, new light, and everybody's going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Everything that they were once against, they can go against it now, and it's just new light.
Nobody's I would really hope that this would wake some people up, but even during the annual meeting, they were explaining the whole new light thing. Like one of the brothers were up there explaining it, and he basically almost verbatim said that we do not have to apologize for whenever we have new light. Like they were explaining how they come upon new light, and they're like, all of us get together. It is not a decision that's made just with one person, but it's all of us as a collective, and we all have to agree. It's literally set up like a business. Like I'm telling you, once we learned about business, I said this in the last video too, but it opened our minds to so much, because if you have like an S Corp or something, you have multiple members in it, and in order to make a change, you guys all have to agree.
Right.
So
it's written in the open agreement.
Yes.
Yep.
Whatever's written in the opening agreement is what you go by. And so the fact that they all have to agree in order to bring forward this new light, it is literally a business.
It's a business.
And it's just very odd that Anthony Morris was like demoted a couple months ago, and he is literally the person that was like, you're blood guilty if you don't go out in service. Like he was that guy. And then for them to announce this at that annual meeting, it just seems a little bit odd. Right.
So what was really going on in those meetings is this something they wasn't agreeing on, and now it's like, get him up out of here.
Because everybody was agreeing and he wasn't. Like that's very possible.
Yeah, along with the other stuff that he got going on. We won't get into it.
But like Bethel has they have spies that are looking all over the internet at the XJW content.
Right.
So who knows, like maybe they were thinking like, we're gonna prove them wrong and we're gonna get rid of this doctrine. But that brings me to the next point. Just as easy as they can get rid of this needing to count service hours, what else can they get rid of?
Disfellowshipping. It's all about how they benefit from this stuff. It's not about what the members benefit.
The thing is, they cannot it's like, I don't think they'll get rid of that for years, because it is based and rooted in fear. And that is the easiest way to control people. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's the easiest way to control people, is by fear.
You can't beat fear, especially with something that you can't see. Like, if you can't actually see the real outside world, as they call it, you would make up in your mind what it really is. Or, Armageddon is coming. You've never seen Armageddon before, but they give you this visual, and then they let you figure out the rest in your mind. Or, you know, if you do this, Satan is going to do this, him and his demons. So in your mind, it's like, all right, it's these evil spirits sitting here just waiting like this for me to mess up, and then they going to jump on me and grab me.
Yeah.
And so they play the whole fear. It's just like we say, a little kid with the boogeyman.
Yeah.
The boogeyman is not real, but in the kid's mind, it's under the bed, it's in the closet.
Yes.
It's really here. I can't even sleep because it's a boogeyman under here. I'm convinced.
They make you picture like what Armageddon would be like, with like all this fire and like bombs and natural disasters and people coming to get you and take you to jail and all of these things going. I literally remember when I was in the organization, I would have nightmares about like Armageddon.
Yep.
And it's because you're allowing, I have an immature mind and I'm listening to what they're saying. So my imagination is running wild. And if you allow your mind to run wild, our mind comes up with like the most crazy scenarios.
Right. It's not even real.
No. So with my mom being disfellowshipped and me thinking that like I'm never going to see her again and everything.
Right.
I'm having like all these nightmares of us being on a boat. It's crazy because she was having these nightmares too. But like us being on a boat and then having a little boat that only takes her away, and like the rest of the family is on this big boat with like the elders and the rest of the people from my Kingdom Hall. But they plant that seed within you. Right. You know, it's just the easiest way to control people is by fear and letting your mind run wild.
Yep, the fear tactics. But it's coming to an end. Who knows what the next teaching is going to be that gets changed? And I'm hoping that this right here takes a whole nother group of people out.
Yeah.
Because that's what needs to happen at this point. It's getting ridiculous. It's been laughable, but it's just getting kind of sad, but also funny at the same time. Like, y'all taking y'all basic foundations and just wiping them out. Like JT call it truth, and then it's trash.
He did
and then nobody ever goes and looks back into the trash can.
Yeah.
Not knowing it's a whole bunch of teachings and books and publications in the dumpster, just in there.
Even whenever you look back to like Zion's Watchtower, like the things that were in there, and it's so wild because every like generation of Jehovah's Witnesses, it's completely different, like what their teachings are. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
it's a business.
Yeah, it is.
Same way with a business.
Constantly evolving.
Yeah, what a business did in the 90s versus the early 2000s versus now is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that this is promoted as the absolute truth. If it's the absolute truth, it should not change that much. Right. And the fact that brother had said in the annual meeting basically like, we don't have to apologize for what we may have had wrong. What do you mean we don't have to apologize?
We rich. We don't owe y'all nothing.
That's like
y'all peasants.
I think it's the fact them admitting to any kind of wrongdoing is it'll mentally demote them in other people's minds. They know that. I view the governing body as CEO. Anytime you think of a CEO of a company, how do they behave? Not every single CEO, but most of them are very arrogant. They say what they want, they do what they want because they rich. I'm rich. I don't have to explain myself to no employee that this entry level. I own the whole company. Who are you? I don't owe you no. Yeah. Just do what I said. It's a power trip. Like they're able to do that. And we've had comments saying like, you know, Jehovah is the one true leader, and my response to that is look at it from a non-biased perspective and just look at the organization as a whole. We're not talking bad about God, or we're not talking bad about other people's beliefs, but it's the fact that this organization is not run under the influence of God. It's run by men.
Sitting at a table.
Yeah.
Coming up with ideas. It's ran by CEOs.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So those were our thoughts on this whole service.
A quick vent on this stuff.
Yeah, it was more so a vent because I'm telling you, when I heard that, I was just like,
make it make sense.
Like, are you joking?
And what's next? That's all you can ask yourself. What's next? Because nothing is surprising us at this time.
No, definitely not.
No. Who knows what's going to be the new teaching after this? It's going to come up to whatever is beneficial to keep people in. They tried their best with the don't look online, don't watch nothing. Internet blew up. Social media blew up.
Yeah.
What can you do about that?
And I'm not gonna lie, I literally told you this like last week, but I truly think that like mark my words, the organization is going to make it like a paid subscription to get into jw.org, because there are way too many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who have such easy access into their information, you know, and into like what's going on within the walls. And they're going to want to block us out from that eventually. And
it's still not going to work, because unlike that truth, real truth, you can't shake. So when you are finessing and being grimy and being sneaky, is no way to hide it. So, like you said, we got PMOs. It's people up in Bethel that's like undercover cops that's in the street or something, just leaking information and keeping everybody up to date. But yeah, that's our thoughts on this stuff. This stuff is crazy.
I know. But just stay tuned. We're going to be posting another video. We have a lot of ideas of different videos we want to post. So thank you to all of our commenters, because you guys give us great ideas.
A whole lot of them.
Yes.
Yep.
And like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, indeed. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.